for those impacted only. If you have a loved one who lives there, they're taking names, they're beginning to go through houses and addresses and finding out who lives in these places, and they're starting to put a list together, and you can get information on your loved ones, somebody that you know that lives in the area, somebody that you haven't heard from. They're starting to sort out information. They're putting 2 and 2 together in this thing to try to hook people back up. So there's the new emergency hotline. We'll have that up for you again later.
Right. No, it's very important that we just restate that this is a scary thing to watch. If you have any friends or family or loved ones who live in this vicinity, but the phone line is for information that you can get and use, and then open the line back up for the next person in line.
And because there is a great sense of concern and emergency, and in some cases some panic, because people are spread out, even if they were evacuated, this is some video that was taken by our videographer Bob Horn earlier of the explosion moments after it happened. He's incredibly close with the fire crews here, and it's unedited, so we'll just go with it. But this explosion happened at 6:15. It's a natural gas line, high pressure line, according to San Bruno's fire chief. But as I was saying, people have been evacuated to different places. They are certainly on their own, trying to get a hold of family members. So that phone number, as Ken and Dana both stated, is strictly for neighbors and those impacted, the families that are impacted.
Right, and again, if you are looking to offer your assistance and you don't have anyone connected to this, the best thing you can do is to go and give blood to the blood centers of the Pacific. They are in need of all types of blood, but specifically they are asking for type O negative blood. The Red Cross is in the area. Here's the San Bruno emergency hotline, 650-616-7180. In the event that you are searching for a loved one or a family member, a friend, please call this number, but know that this is the only line that's available, and there are many people who are in need of information. 650-616-7180.
And the word that we are getting, these are early numbers, but the word we're getting is that San Francisco General's burn unit has 2 patients in critical right now. Kaiser in South San Francisco does have burn victims, but we don't have a number. And Seton in Daly City, Seton Medical Center in Daly City has also received patients, but again, we don't have a hard and fast number on those 2 hospitals.
Now, we keep going back and forth between live footage as well as taped footage. This right now is the scene for the San Bruno Fire Department and Daly City firefighters and all the other firefighters that have come to the aid here. They have drawn a perimeter around this fire containing all that is a flame inside, and hoping that it does not expand any farther out of that perimeter. That is the danger that they're involved in right now. It is a ground battle. The air tankers have landed for the evening. It's dark. They can't fly anymore. Should this continue on at daybreak, I'm sure they'll be back. But the job right now is to put out these flames so that they don't expand. Apparently, it is very windy out there. The wind is moving in, I believe Roberta said, to the west. And that is their challenge at this moment.
And I'm also being told that the St. Francis Burn Unit in San Francisco is also involved in receiving patients tonight as well. So as we bring you live pictures, as long as Chopper 5 can stay on this, we're seeing these are homes that have been burning. The initial fire started at 6:15, and it's now 8:45, and we're going to listen to some folks take, some natural sound. Okay, let's just roll the video and hear what was happening right in the middle of this thing.
I ran outside my driveway. The flames were shooting up the street. The heat was so intense, everybody had to run. You couldn't even stay out in front of your house. It looked like something exploded on the corner of Claremont and Glenview. It looked like I saw 2 or 3 houses just completely incinerated.
That's video and sound from Bob Horn, our videographer, who was immediately on the scene and spoke to this man who gave us a description of what we needed early on, that this was an explosion on the ground, later confirmed to be a high-pressure pipeline.
Well, and Andrew from Pacifica gave us our initial account this evening, well over an hour and a half ago, of what he saw, because he was standing as he saw the ground rise up next to him. He said it was as if a truck had driven underneath the ground next to him, pushing the ground up, and then he's heard the explosion happen.
We have some more video shot by Bob Horn.
The jet plane has crashed upon liftoff in the San Francisco Bay Area. You can see that this fire is humongous. You can smell the jet fumes. They're so strong, it isn't funny. And it looks like the fire is spreading to other buildings now.
Clearly, this video was taken when the initial report was that this was a plane that went down. But clearly, that was the experience of that person.
I think Joe Vasquez is on the phone. You can put that video a little more into perspective for us, Joe.
I'm good with you guys. Still a bit around.
Can you hear us?
Hey, Al, it's Joe Vasquez. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah,
you bet. You bet.
All right, listen, I'm standing next to David Morehouse. He's the man you just saw in that video. He's actually the man who shot the video that we have been sending in here and that we've been taking from time to time. Bob Horn of CBS 5 has been the engineer feeding it in. But David Morehouse, an independent photojournalist, is the man who shot that. I'm going to hand the phone over to you if you can talk to our anchors now. David?
David?
Hello. Hello.
David, you were there when the explosion occurred?
I wasn't there when the explosion occurred. I arrived approximately 10 to 15 minutes after the explosion and managed to get in past the police line to get this footage before they started getting tough on everybody and asking everybody to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And you, as many others, I don't want to say jump to a conclusion, but your initial thought was that it was a plane. Now that you can kind of put some perspective on it, is pretty clear. Can you describe better for us what you saw and heard?
Well, what I experienced was a lot of asphalt that had been literally blown hundreds of yards away from the actual explosion, and it was left scattered all over the streets. One house had literally had half of one side of it blown off, like a shotgun had hit it from all the asphalt hitting it. So it was a very, very large explosion, and the heat was intense. I had literally had to back out from where I was because the heat was so intense. I was filming next to a house, and the paint on the house was literally melting as I was filming.
So were you near the crater where it exploded?
I was within 100 yards. The heat was so intense, I couldn't go any farther. Even the police and the firemen were nowhere near down in that area.
And what did it sound like, David?
It was like a roaring, almost like a light tornado sound. I used to live in Colorado. I don't know if you're familiar with the tornado sound, but it's got a life of its own. It really, and just the heat and the smell, and it was just surreal. That's a commonly used phrase for something like this, but it was incredible.
And for the homes there, did you notice, were they occupied, the homes in the vicinity where you were?
Absolutely. None of the houses were occupied. The fire and police had evacuated everybody. You could notice that there was a few homes that actually had the doors open so the police could enter the house without having to destroy anything and to get in case the houses caught on fire. So
where you were, you're saying within 15 minutes they had come in and evacuated the homes near the explosion?
I don't know for sure if the police had evacuated all the people. I'm sure when that explosion rocked that neighborhood, everybody was probably on the way out of there on their own. I know I would have been. The heat was intense.
Yeah. David, you described the asphalt, the street, blowing up. So I'm kind of picturing the asphalt as shrapnel and being on fire and then spreading that as it hit the houses and the cars and everything else in the neighborhood. Is that correct?
It would be similar to, say, a bomb hitting an area and debris flying up in the air and residual damage coming from that, from hitting the other homes and stuff. But it was just chunks of asphalt, 2-3 feet in diameter, or smaller ones. There's some film of that. It was just a very, very large explosion. I thought it was a plane crash, and from all the smell, it smelled kind of like jet fuel. But
you weren't the only one.
Yeah, no, you weren't.
Yeah.
How strong was that gas smell?
I'm not sure if it was a true gas smell that I'm used to, it didn't smell like a natural gas where you would have the odorizer in it. It smelled more like a combination of a lot of things. There's probably, a combination of wood, asphalt. There was definitely a strong smell of burning asphalt or tar and type shingles for, like a house. There was a lot of smell, and the heat was, you push in a little ways, then you back out because it gets too hot. And then I went around the block again, and it was the same thing. And then finally I had to pull out because the police officers asked us to move back because while I was there was 2 new houses that actually caught on fire. The houses were actually coming towards the burning, so I pulled out and I hooked up with one of the vans. Well,
your video shows the timeline very well and in its immediacy, and we really appreciate having it to show our viewers. Thank you very much,
And the information
David.
you gave us is great.
Yeah, just as long as you can get a hold of Rick Kellerman for me, that's the main thing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right,
David,
thank you. Again, a call for blood. I want to give you a little bit more information. You could go online to bloodcenters.org, all one word, bloodcenters.org, or call 1-888-393-GIVE. They are specifically looking for type O negative, but I would suggest that any donation of blood you could give would be extremely helpful. The Blood Centers of the Pacific.
And a reminder, as we approach the 9 o'clock hour, we've been switching back and forth from video to our live chopper, and this is a live picture from Chopper 5 as houses in the San Bruno area, Claremont, Glenview, that neighborhood. Many of them have burned to the ground tonight. It's really hard to get a perspective other than to see how widespread the glow is here from this neighborhood after the initial natural gas line explosion that happened at 6:15 tonight was the initial report, around 6:15 tonight, and it's been burning ever since. Ken?
Alan, I want to give you the latest we have on casualties. This is inevitable. In a situation like this, people are going to get hurt. And we are now getting confirmation from Kaiser Permanente in South San Francisco that 15 victims have been brought in, 15 burn victims. We are told that some of those people will be transferred out to other burn units. They simply cannot handle that many serious burn victim cases at one point there at one hospital. So 15. I have 15 victims will be have come into Kaiser, South San Francisco, and at least some of those will be transferred out throughout the evening. We have 2 at San Francisco General in critical condition, and we have let's see, at least some victims having come into Seton Medical Center, where they have put up a triage system right now. They have what they call a triage, code triage, where they ask for different units to come in and help them out, medical units come in and help them out from different hospitals. So that's the situation right now in terms of casualties as we know it.
All right, very
Thank
good.
you.
And if you are in need of information for a loved one, we want to give you the phone number that you can call. It's 650-616-7180. If you are looking for information on a loved one, a family member from that area, 650-616-7180. Now that we know that there are some significant casualties, it might be better to start there as opposed to call around to all of the hospitals.
Indeed, and the Red Cross has stepped in tonight, as inevitably it would. That's what it does. But 100 people that we know of, 100 people have contacted the Red Cross asking for help. So perhaps that's another resource for you. Also, shelters have been set up. I know the Veterans Recreation Center was one of them. I believe the other one might have been the San Bruno
Senior Community Center.
Right,
and again, a big chunk of freeway is shut down, 280 northbound and southbound at Skyline and College and San Bruno, shut down this evening, and it's a SIG alert. It is a hard shutdown. We have not received any information as to when it might reopen, so avoid that area. emergency vehicles need to get in and out freely.
You know, Dana, this picture is striking. A live picture from Chopper 5. This is not tape. This is not video. So obviously structures are